Good morning, students. Last lesson, we were multiplying binomials into quadratic trinomials. We used FOIL. Today, we are going to be doing the reverse process. We're going to start with the answer and then factor it into the binomials that we were doing last lesson. Okay, let's take a look at a couple examples while following these steps. Okay, our first example of a quadratic. It's a quadratic because it has an x squared. It's a quadratic trinomial. It's a trinomial because it has three terms. And our goal is to factor it so it looks like two binomials being multiplied together, like the problems that we did last lesson. Okay, so we will first set up two sets of parentheses and hopefully put in the four terms, the two terms in each. That will be the factored form of this simplified form. Okay, so the first step after you set up the parentheses is to factor the leading term. The leading term is the quadratic term, x squared. Okay, that is basically just breaking up into two linear factors. And for these examples, they're always the same variable. So x times x gives me the x squared. Okay. Next, we actually look at the last number. We take a look at the constant next, and we have to write down all the pairs of numbers that can multiply to give me that last constant. So my last constant is 8. So I can make a list of 1 times 8, 2 times 4, 4 times 2, and 8 times 1 are essentially going to be the same since I'm just multiplying with the same x. If these x's were different, I would take the time to write the reverse order of these two. Okay. Next, we're going to place these. We're going to basically guess and check, and I need to check to see if my inside and outside products will combine to the 6. Okay. 1 and 8. If I place 1 and 8 in there, 1x and 8x will not combine either by adding or subtracting to 6x. So my better choice will be 2 and 4. 2 and 4 will multiply to 8. And when I look at the inside and outside products, 2x and 4x, if they are both the same sign and both positive, then it will add up to the 6x. 2x plus 4x equals 6x. My check is x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 2 times x is 2x. That combines to the 6x. And then lastly, the 2 times 4 does equal the 8. My second example, I have a quadratic trinomial. It's the variable n instead of x, but that's okay. I just will have to remember that when I'm factoring the first term, n times n gives me the n squared. Next, I have to look at that last constant, that last number. I need to write out some pairs of numbers that multiply to 56. Well, let's begin. There's 1 times 56. 56 is even, so I'll say 2 times 28. 3 does not go in, 4 does. 4 times 14. 5 doesn't, 6 doesn't, 7 times 8. And that lists all the pairs of numbers that will multiply to 56. Okay. Now I have to go through this list and see, do any of these numbers add or subtract to get to a -1. That's my middle term, -1n. 1 in 56, that adds up to 57. It subtracts to 55. Those numbers are way too large, and I need them to be a little bit closer together. So 2 and 28 will not give me the correct sum or difference either. Seems like the correct choice is going to be 7 and 8. 7 times 8 does give me the 56, but when I look at my products, 7n and 8n, I can add or subtract to get to -1n. I can do 7 minus 8. Also, when I'm putting in my signs, I'm looking at the product, and I knew that one of the signs had to be positive and one of them had to be negative. In order for the like terms to combine to a negative number, I needed the larger term to be negative, and the 7 would have to be the positive term. If I had in the reverse order, I would have had a positive 1n right there. Okay, there we go. N plus 7 times n minus 8 does give me the quadratic trinomial n squared minus 1n minus 56. Okay, let's take a look at one more. Let's set up the parentheses for b squared minus 5b plus 6. That's a 6. I know there's a lot of b's in this example. Okay, what multiplies to make b squared? We'll put that in the first positions of each parentheses. B times b gives me the b squared. What multiplies to make 6? 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and the reverse orders of those two pairs. Okay. All right, which one of these will add or subtract to give me a negative 5? Oh, man. This one is a little bit trickier because 1 and 6 can give you a 5, and 2 and 3 can give me a 5. So I need to pay attention to what do the signs have to be. Well, the fact that this was a positive product means they both have to be the same sign. So I need both of these signs. I need both of these signs to either both be positive or both be negative. But this is telling me that they both have to, that the two products need to add up to a negative number. So I know that they both have to be negative signs. Okay, so what multiplies to 6 and will add up to two negatives to a 5? When I think about it that way, the correct choice is 2 and 3. B times b is b squared. The inside and the outside product is negative 3b and negative 2b. And those were the two terms that I was trying to get to add up to the negative 5b. Negative 2 times negative 3 is that positive 6. So it does work out. The quadratic trinomial b squared minus 5b plus 6 can be factored into b minus 2 times b minus 3. Okay, give these a shot. Do the best you can. Take a picture of your work and attach it to the Google assignment section of the Google Classroom page. All right, guys, you can do it.